shadow boxing. Hey, Saints, if you could confirm that the sound is good, because we're actually using the microphone today, because I know you guys like that good sound. Yeah. Have they confirmed sound is good to go?
No, not yet.
Okay. Saints, we are talking about a topic that came to mind based on experience. You see, when I have a life experience and I say, you know what? I bet it would benefit the assassin to discuss this. That's why I bring it up. They're saying the audio's good?
No one said that yet, but Blue Pink Tech started off in a super chat before,
Okay.
and he said, off topic, but I was watching your vid on Tech Unicorns. You said that he who holds the gold makes the rules. What's your take on plutocracies?
Well, America is a plutocracy. In fact, Adolf Hitler famously described America as a plutocracy. And it's very clear that we're living in a plutocratic nation, especially when you have the likes of a Donald Trump running the nation, because he's clearly a wealthy individual. And only in America would you find a situation in which you need so many hundreds of millions of dollars to even run a political campaign to be competitive. So certainly we're in a plutocracy. Now, to our core topic, which is, are some women dead on the inside? Are there women who have no souls? Why is that? How do you deal with these women? Certainly there are women who are dead on the inside. And I thought I was the only person who could see it until recently I had an experience. And that's why I wanted to bring this to you guys.
Ronaldo just sent a cash app. He said for peace and prosperity.
Truly appreciate that, Ronaldo. You guys may know I was recently in Miami. And during my time in Miami, we met many females. And during that time meeting those females, there was one in particular who was a great conversationalist, nice young lady, and many of them were. I looked into her eyes and there was something missing. There was like a lifelessness in the young lady's eyes. And then I was hanging out with another gentleman and he had brought up the young lady. And I said, you know, there's something a little off about her. And he says, yeah, she has no soul. And then I was a little shocked to hear him say that because I was thinking, that's exactly what I observed. She has no soul. You can feel there's a detachment, a coldness inside of this lady. And that's really unfortunate because for the most part, women are very warm. That's why I really appreciate women and appreciate companionship. And when he said this, I was shocked because I didn't know other guys could observe this. Now, I don't know how common this is that people can tell that a woman has no goddamn soul. But the real question is, how do you deal with this kind of woman? Because it turns out there's a lot of them in this society. If you saw the debate that I had with Annalicia, this woman has no soul. It's gone. And it's an unfortunate thing because it's really not her fault. It's a direct result of the trauma she's experienced that she's not been able to deal with and let go of. So when a woman has been traumatized by certain experiences that have a male involved, then they get to a point where they truly have misandry in their heart. Misandry, the opposite of misogyny, right? Misandry when you have a deep hatred for men. And that deep hatred that they have for men is in direct conflict with their true nature of being a heterosexual female. And so this female becomes extremely dysfunctional because on one hand, she physically desires the male, but on the other hand, she deeply hates and resents the male, resents his domination, and wants to essentially destroy all men in an effort to avenge the past traumas that she suffered at the hands of one male. Think about that. It's deep, I know. And so you might find yourself in a relationship with one of these women who are misandrous, one of these women who have no soul. And the way you'll be able to tell that is because the woman eventually ends up double-crossing you or cheating on you or doing something extremely ruthless, which doesn't make her dead inside. But what does make her dead inside is the fact that when she does this ruthless thing to you, whether it's cheating on you, whether she didn't get you anything for your birthday, whether she lied to you, she does it and has no remorse, no emotions about it. It's like she did you wrong and almost felt as though it was just okay, as though you're not a human being. Because in her mind, she's trying to subconsciously avenge the scars from the past that were left by whoever abused her or left by whatever situation had befallen her that she's not been able to deal with. Could come from childhood trauma, or it could come from she was married for a couple years and her husband used to go Ike Turner and beat the shit out of her, right? Whatever the case is, the woman is now dead inside, has no soul, and in reality is not useful to any good man. And if you encounter this woman, you really should stay away from her because she's dangerous. Think of Jodi Arias. These are the kind of female personalities I'm talking about that'll be extremely dangerous to you. We all caught up?
We are.
Fantastic. So, one thing I want you guys to understand about these women who are dead inside is that you should be able to tell them from the beginning. These are the women that you take out on several dates. She might even be physically intimate with you. But though she gives you her body, she never gives you her heart. She never builds any meaningful bond or connection with you. So everything that she gives you, she's always holding back the heart, holding back the significant connection. It's either all about surface level sex, it's all about fun and drinking. And these women who have no soul and have no life within them, they're often women who enjoy drug usage, marijuana, and other hard drugs. So I want you to keep an eye out for these women. And of course, they're not always feminists. That's what's dangerous, is that they're shapeshifters. These are the women who might look you in your eye and tell you everything you want to hear, but they don't mean it, huh? These are women like the one you saw in my live chat, on my debate, where out of her mouth, she'll tell you, I would submit to the right man. Then you ask her what the right man is, and she can't even explain that because in her mind, she's so confused that her subconscious is preventing her from submitting to any man because she has unresolved male-related issues. Yet her conscious is telling her like, yeah, I would do it in the perfect circumstance, but the perfect circumstance never occurs. She's never going to get the guy who makes big money, is 6 foot tall, an athlete, and all these other things. So she's creating this mirage of a perfect guy to say, yeah, I would submit for that guy because she knows that guy doesn't exist. And she also knows she would never submit. So she creates basically a self-fulfilling prophecy of her continually failing in love. And when she fails in relationships, guess what she does? She blames the guys, right? And she doesn't blame one guy or the guy she's been with. She doesn't blame her baby daddy. She blames all men. That's how you know you're dealing with someone who has a psychological issue, because they generalize from the individual to the totality of this symbol that hurt them. So in her case, it would be a male. So she generalizes to the whole male population.
Okay, we have a couple super chats, but first, Fred said, just got my shirt today. The quality is amazing.
I truly appreciate that. We use that mercerized cotton on that, you dig? Feels nice and smooth. Lovely to the touch. Hey, man, go ahead, and if you end up posting one of those on your IG story, tag your boy.
Okay, Robert Jones in a super chat. He said, some women are beyond redemption. If you threw a bone at Annalisa, she won't appreciate it. Even if there's reward, the cost, not always financial, outweighs benefits of pumping life in a mannequin.
Damn, he said pumping life into a mannequin. And that's so real. And let me hop in on that before you carry on. Robert is totally right that you can't breathe life into some persons. It's just too late for them. And we're not saying that we're throwing away human beings. We're saying that we're just not wasting our time and energy and letting that drain us. Because in many ways, these women who are dead on the inside, they're like vampires. They're just there to suck your energy so that they may thrive. They want to suck your resources so that they can win. But here's the thing, bruh. Here's the thing you really got to consider about these women who are dead on the inside. Check this out. A woman who's dead on the inside, well, if she's dead on the inside and birds of a feather flock together, and you find yourself that you're in a relationship with a woman like this, You got to ask yourself, well, what's on the inside of you? How do you feel about yourself that you would let yourself be caught with a woman who's worth nothing at all? That's really what we need to do, is look in the mirror, because we can't be like the woman and not take any accountability. If you end up with a woman who's dead on the inside, and you may have, you got to ask yourself, like, why you? Like, why did you submit yourself to a woman who wouldn't submit to you? Like, these are the hard conversations we have to have with ourselves, because nothing happens on accident. A woman who's dead on the inside isn't going to serve you. So the question is, why would you give a privileged position of a wife, of a mother, to a woman who did not serve you? Because a woman who's dead on the inside is deeply selfish, deeply self-centered. So for you to engage with a woman like that in a romantic way is letting us know that there's something about you in which you don't demand respect. And the time in which we don't demand respect is a time in which we don't have self-respect. So we let people treat us any way they want to.
Okay, I have a few super chats. Eric V, he just sent tuition, no comments.
Truly appreciate it. Eric V be pulling up the same way every time. I like that.
He does. Jake sent 2 super chats. He said, apparently YouTube was filtering it, but he said, men live by a code of honor. Women do what benefits them without regard to morals.
You know, there's a level of truth to that. Obviously, there are degrees to all things. There are some women who are better than other women, but undoubtedly, generally speaking, if you're ruled by emotion, you can't live by principle, right? So at some level, you know, most human beings, male and female, are ruled by emotion, and so very few of them live by principle. With women in general, because they're meant to be guided by a man, that's where they're getting their moral compass, their principles from, is following that man whose program they decided to subscribe to. A woman left unto herself, not under the care of a father or a husband, is really a very dangerous person, because she's going to lead herself to destruction, because she's basically a renegade at that point, you dig? And let me go ahead and elaborate on one other thing. A lot of folks would think that women who have engaged in prostitution are dead on the inside or have no soul. That's actually not true. I personally have met a number of women of the night, so to speak, who are very warm, loving people. That's definitely not a one-to-one correlation on you engage in this activity as a female, you're dead on the inside. Not the case. So I say that to say, you'll find women who appear to be perfectly healthy on the outside. They might be corporate lawyers, they might be judges, they might be doctors, but they're still rotten on the inside. And all of the accolades that they have on the exterior are merely there to disguise their true weakness or their true wickedness or the frailty of their character.
Okay, Scobay sent a super chat. He said her name is Legion, for she is many demons.
Hey, he ain't lying.
Okay, we have Dream Circle said he discovered this man a few days ago. He dropped by, salute, respect your pimpin'.
Hey, I truly appreciate that, man. There's so much to learn from the ism, and the key to the ism is that it's all about getting to work, you dig? Like, that's what I love about this philosophy that we live by is, number one, it's simple. Number two, it's about goodness. And number three, it's about action. You heard me? You got so many people who are believers in this or that, but they don't ever do anything. That's problematic to me. Shout out to the saints who got their workout in today. You heard me?
Okay, Metal Baby Slayer just sent a cash app.
Metal Baby Slayer, truly appreciate it. Love saying that name.
Yes. We have a super chat from FM Chico. He said, a girl I used to date and work with, every time we worked together, I felt sad, drained as soon as I was in her presence. I was blinded by the sex. Beware of the Jezebel spirit, saints.
And I like what he's mentioning in terms of the spirit. That's why when we say a woman is dead inside or she has no soul, there's a vacuum, an empty vacuum of darkness inside of her. And given that void of energy, the people around her are who she sucks energy from. And some of these women, you only really see them smile when they're drinking alcohol or consuming intoxicants, because they have a lack of their own internal energy and happiness. So they have to get this from the outside in the form of your energy that they blood suck from you, or in the form of intoxicants. And it's really a sad thing, but at the end of the day, you can't save them. Don't be Captain Save-A-Hoe. If that hoe can't swim, she bound to drown. We caught up?
We are.
Fantastic, fantastic.
The likes aren't caught up though.
Oh, the likes aren't caught up? What? Not the Saints. Okay, I guess we got to take a little break ski. Let them go ahead and click that like button. Cool, we'll give them a little bit of time.
Okay, we have another super chat from Robert Jones. He said, these soul diggers out here, worse than the gold diggers. But yeah, I was gonna say there's lots of loyal potential and some lost souls just need fertile ground for the pimpin'.
Ooh, that was super player. He said these soul diggers.
Yeah,
That's deep right
they're
there.
worse than the gold diggers.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, a lot of men lack enough experience to really understand what we're talking about right now. You have to deal with a high enough volume of women to be able to understand and differentiate them appropriately. A man who's not dealt with enough women would say the following untrue thing, which appears to be true. He'd say black women and white women are different, not realizing that women all around the world are mostly the same. I wish black women and white women were different. The truth is just the veneer is different. They're all fake, right? They all have fake hair, fake eyelashes, fake eyebrows, makeup. This is plastic surgery, facelift, breast implants, butt implants, all of them. All of them. You go to Colombia, they doing it. You go to Nigeria, they doing it. You go to Japan, you go to Korea, they're doing it. So women and their basic driving principles are the same. Or I should say their driving, their underlying desires that drive them are all the same. The desire to be sexually appealing, the desire to get attention, the urge to be influential, meaning they try to manipulate you through their mouth because they have a lack of physical power. That's why they talk so much. They try to talk you out of your position into the position they want you in. And that's something that all women do. They all use the same strategies. I'd say the only surface level difference between, for example, a black woman and a white woman is where you get the conflict. With a black woman, African American to be specific, you get the conflict up front. With a white woman, you get the conflict on the back end. Here's what I mean. If a black woman wants you to wash the dishes and you didn't wash them and she expected you to, she's gonna say, hey, you said you were gonna wash the dishes. She confronts you straight away. If you don't wash the dishes, a middle-class white woman might say, oh, hey there, Marquett, I thought we agreed that, I do the cooking and then you do the dishwashing, right? She tries to put a little more finesse on it. It's a higher level of manipulation. She's passive aggressive. The African American woman is aggressive, just straight out. But here's the thing. If you tell both of them no, then the gloves come off and they become hyper aggressive in both cases. And you find out that the veneer of the skin only goes a quarter of a centimeter deep. Underneath that, they're all the same. Because as soon as you tell them no, you're gonna find a problem.
Okay, Daniel Brown sent a super chat. He said, how do you say 100 all the time, always displaying high value, never shy even around higher class people that might intimidate you?
That's a great question. Is this the saint who had asked the question right when the phone had died?
I think last night he sent the super chat and it died.
Hey, I want to thank you for sending your super chat again. I really want to address this question because this is something that all men deal with. Number one, there's a quotation that reads something like this: all men are ordinary. Extraordinary men are the ones who know that. What that means is that you might look at an Elon Musk or a Kanye West or an Albert Einstein and believe that they are somehow more special or gifted than you are, which is rarely the case. In actual fact, the major difference between you and anyone you might consider a genius is their habits. It's not their natural inborn or innate gifts, it's their habits. So they practice a lot more than you do. Floyd Mayweather probably beat your ass because he spends most of his life in the boxing gym. So when he has to box, he's going to look like the Mozart of boxing because that's all he does. So I say that to say, you have to understand the human beings as a product of their regular habits. I believe maybe it was Aristotle who said excellence is the product of your habits. It's what you repeatedly do. So for example, why would you be intimidated by someone else who's merely flesh and blood as you are? You can be anything that anyone else is for the most part, right? What I mean is this. I remember I used to watch boxers jump rope, and I was in awe at how dexterously they could do it, and I couldn't. And then over the years, with great practice, I'm just as good. So I never look at anyone with awe because I know their mastery of anything is merely a manifestation of their practice. So that's number one. We're all human beings. Why be intimidated? Here's the second thing. If you go in humble, if you're always coming from a position of humility, you'll never be embarrassed. And if you always come in asking questions and being open to learn, people who are in high places will respect that because they share that in common with you, and they'll be willing to teach you and be kind to you. But you should never be intimidated by anybody because, as we say where I'm from, ain't nobody too live to die, which is to say, hey, there's always somebody bigger. There's always a bigger bully. You know, you should never be scared because even the biggest man can be overcome by the confederacy of small men.
Okay, Spartacus Jackson sent a super chat. He said, what are your thoughts on a woman that's still in communication with her married ex-boyfriend?
Ooh, well, if that woman is your woman, to be exact, my thoughts would be that there's probably some impropriety there, especially if there's no kid. If there's a kid, she has to be in contact, right? If there's a kid, she's like bonded to that man for the rest of her life, which is why it's always better not to deal with lonely mothers. But if there's no child and she just happens to be in regular contact with her ex-husband, I'd say that she's not keeping her life pure. It's never good for a woman to have more than one master. She needs to make a choice, i.e. identify a priority, because a woman, even when she has kids, should favor her husband's preferences more than even the kids. That's how central you should become in her life. So I think it's worth having a conversation with her about, hey, what are your preferences? What are your priorities? What are you reaching for in life? Like, what's your goal, dear? And then once she identifies that goal, say, hey, what behaviors are you displaying that either go against that goal or are out of line with that goal? She's not going to identify the behavior. That's when you say, you know, I've observed that you do this. I believe this is contradictory to the goal you've stated. What should we do about this? Listen to her, take it with a grain of salt, and then observe her behaviors and see if she makes any adjustments. But hey, here's the thing, never get jealous, never get out of your own zone. Keep it player, because the moment you look jealous, she's going to leverage that against you. She could be cheating on you 30,000 times a day. And if you look jealous a little bit, even though it might be warranted, she's going to use that against you and play head games with you. So never get outside of your position.
Okay, Jake sent his third super chat. He said, there used to be a saying, behind every great man is a great woman. Built empire together, him grinding, her supporting at home. No longer exists. Women don't build, they move in, then divorce.
Damn, bruh. Let me keep it funky with you, man. You can't have 100% dark mentality because finding is for the seekers. If you are seeking, like when you speak that kind of negativity into the world, that's what you're going to find. I promise you, there are some decent women out there. There's not a ton, let me be real with you. But there are enough of those women for the saints who deserve them to have them. And we're even working on building more of these women, reproducing them. So saint, I really want to speak blessing into your life and say that if you are a good man, if you're a saintly man, you will attract the woman that you deserve. Undoubtedly, I personally know women who are great women and support men in all of their pursuits and identify that man's goal as their number one priority. So there are great women out there saying, trust me on this one. I promise you, I'm not speaking from guessing, I'm speaking from real lived experience.
Okay, Robert Jones also sent his third super chat. He said, by the way, we out here in the gym, back on my two-a-days, iron sharpens iron. Building up your soul and energy gives you clear sight to see these levels.
Oh, absolutely. And shout out to Robert Jones. He done popped off the third one. We got it going. And he's so right. You know, you will never have a situation when you're in the gym every single day and unhappy at the same time. It does not happen. You will never have a situation when you're in the gym every day and you're feeling unconfident or you're feeling weak. You cannot execute on great habits and not have a great life. It just does not go together. That's why I'm happy every day, because every day I'm exercising the proper behaviors to keep myself in the state that I want to be in, which is a state of confidence, a state of strength, a state of saintliness and peace.
Okay, Christian Efe, I might have said that name wrong, sent a super chat. He said, I appreciate the knowledge and perspective you always share. Got that Muay Thai work in. Peace to the assassin.
Oh, absolutely. Those Muay Thai cats are serious. Yeah, peace to the saint.
Okay, Yardley Moyes sent a super chat. He said, how can I drop 20 pounds in 10 weeks? LOL, help me out.
Man, I didn't drop 20 pounds in like damn near just a week. It's very simple. And everyone knows this formula. You have to be in a caloric deficit, which is to say, anytime you eat food, you're ingesting calories. Anytime you exercise, you're burning calories. You need to be in a caloric deficit, which means you eat an insufficient number of calories, meaning small meals, and you persist with a very strong workout routine, working out multiple times a day. How do I know it works? Because I've had to lose 20 pounds in a week for a boxing match, and I did it, and here's the key. I lost 20 pounds out of this. There's nothing to lose it out of. So I lost 20 pounds of core weight. You can surely lose 20 pounds of fat, my friend. So what you have to do is reduce the size of your meals. You don't need to weigh your food. You don't need to do anything clever. Just make sure that you eat small meals that are about the size of your fist, not to exceed that. You understand? No more than 3 fists a day. You can break it up into smaller meals. Work out 3 times a day. Oh, trust me, that fat will get up off your ass. Absolutely.
Okay, Twin sent a super chat. He said, paying tuition.
Truly appreciate it, twin.
Vesluvius sent a super chat. He says, salute to the assassin. Some women are hurt and broken mentally and spiritually.
You ain't
In
never
defense,
lied.
they put on armor to keep from enduring more anguish. But once you crack that shell, femininity takes over and are usually submissive.
Yeah, and you have to realize there's levels to it. When you get to the level of dealing with a woman who is dead inside, she has no soul, bruh, run for the hills. I mean, Dr. Phil himself might not be able to crack that shell, because here's the thing. Would you rather buy a house, a piece of real estate that's beautiful, pristine, has curbside appeal, and the inside looks good? Or would you rather buy a fixer-upper, a mini mansion that looks great from the outside, but when you walk inside, the floorboards creak. It's hollow on the inside, cold and drafty. Nah, you don't need to invest your energy there. Let the non-believers do that. But the saints, we want to get the woman that matches our energy. So Vesluvius is 1,000% right. Yeah, you might be able to get a fixer-upper, make some investment, turn a profit on it, but 9 out of 9, it's much better to get that property that already has that value there, and you can only grow that value.
Okay, Jabrizzi Magic sent a super chat. He said, peace, saints.
Peace to the saint, absolutely. Always good to hear from Jabri.
Christian F.A. sent another super chat. He said, a negative mindset will never bring a positive life.
That's so true, saints, and that's why we do our work. Like, I'm not gonna lie, every now and then we gotta clown these dog hoes, you heard me? These harlots These slutty buddies, yeah, we got to drag them through the dirt because that's what they deserve, because we are stigmatizing chicks who are promiscuous, because that is a disgusting behavior that derides the whole society. However, there are another subset of women who are perfectly good people and all they need is some good leadership. Huh? So let us not confuse things and be unscientific and just smash it all together and say, all these hoes ain't shit. All these women are garbage, because that's not true. And so I appreciate the saint taking a wider view and saying, a lot of these hoes ain't shit, but there's some lovely ladies out there and I can get one. And that's why we're arming you with the ability to get one by increasing your value and increasing your ability to see value. You dig? Because sometimes you're looking for value in the form of them big breasts and that big butt. But sometimes the best woman doesn't have the curves like that. You heard me? The best woman is modest. She got her body covered up. You don't even know what's under there. And that's really where you should be looking for the treasure at. But shout out to all the real men, all the saints who know that there's always a prize for a winner. So continue being a winner. Do not be bitter, because there's a lot of bitter men out there. Incels, MGTOW. That's not us, Saint. We're going to be an example to them. This is the leadership class. You heard me?
Okay, I have a couple super chats to get to, but first, Clarence Rogers, he said, I ran my first half marathon because of your motivation. 5 months ago, I could barely walk without getting winded.
Damn.
I feel like a brand new man.
Damn, that's a beautiful thing. And people don't realize they want to lift weights and get all bulky. But when you feel like a killer, because trust me, I've been bulky. I played football. I've been very big. When you feel greatest is when you got that wind. When your cardio is great, you feel like a killer. When you got those big muscles, you look good, but you don't have true performance. So shout out to the saint for really getting his life together. That's a beautiful thing, man.
Okay, we have Jake sent his fourth super chat.
Damn, it's
He
turning
said,
up.
most attractive women are on OnlyFans, sugar sites, pro sites, Instagram pay-per-play, harsh reality. Maybe 5% of attractive are marriage material.
Maybe even less. Shit. He ain't lying. That's 1,000% correct. And that's why we have to understand that, in life, you don't always get what you want. Sometimes you do, and that's a beautiful thing. But if you want your wife to look like, who's a good looking woman? I don't even know who celebrities are.
Beyonce?
Yeah, if you want your wife, if you want your wife to look like Beyonce and also have morals, well, shit, that's highly unlikely. You look at Beyonce when she goes out to perform, she's barely clothed. To me, that's a terrible example of a wife and a mother. If I was Jigga, I wouldn't want that to be the case, but that's how she gets her money. So it's not like she's going to meet him and then change her behaviors. So yes, if she's rewarded for her horrific behavior, she's going to continue, being a Jezebel. So yeah, I would much rather find a woman who is, a little bit fat, but got a good attitude, know how to cook up a meal. You heard me? I'd rather find a woman who got a lazy eye, but has great vision and can see that I'm a guy who deserves respect, and she's willing to deliver that. So yeah, absolutely. I'd rather find a woman with a peg leg who knows how to walk down the road of success and push me forward on that road. Yeah.
Okay, Bro Truth sent a super chat. He said, any updates on the new conference dates?
The update will have to come right on the heels of the governor's announcement. So I believe the governor will be announcing on the 19th of January. So what's that, about a week out, a little over a week out?
Yeah, but we don't know when he's announcing.
Yeah, so this is what I hear. And so as soon as they make the announcement, we're going to try to set ours for 3 weeks out, with the idea that once he says, okay, we're raising it up to 250 for indoor occupancy, they're not going to change that in less than a month. So we'll be able to set up the conference and get it going very quickly. As I said, if for some reason you're not canceling your plans, you're still going to come to Vegas, reach out to us and then we'll get coordinated.
Okay, Christian Smith sent a super chat. He said, this pandemic showed that women couldn't hide behind all the quirks of life, i.e. traveling, dates, shopping, clubs.
That's right.
And they all seemed miserable while I was happy naturally.
That's so right. And that's how you know the society is in tremendous need of leadership, because so many women in the modern society occupy their stupid minds with the spa, going to get their nails done, going to Vegas, going to Miami, all of these places that loose women spend their time in brainless, mindless activities just to keep them smiling, enjoying the surface things in life. So now that they've been forced to stay at home in isolation with themselves, they realize how boring and uninteresting they really are, and that's why they're pulling their hair out or going on Tinder and finding a little bit of sausage to get them by.
Bro True said, can't go chubby chasing. No way, Jose.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you.
Okay. Eric Farmer sent me a super chat. He said, I missed the live, but I will watch the replay. Your content is always on point, sir. Stay up, King. Blessings all the way from pimping Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh man, Memphis. Did you say from pimping Memphis?
Yeah.
Memphis got some serious pimping. He ain't lying. And the funny thing is, no disrespect to the Shy, people say the Shy got the pimping. Man, I feel like Memphis got some pimping. They need to throw it on the map, because I was in the Shy, and that's where I got chose, you dig? So I can't hate Chicago, because I had a very lovely woman in Chicago who used to work her butt off for me. Most honest woman you wanted to meet. But Memphis, man, that's a whole nother story, bruh. I love it. Pimping is in the culture, embedded.
Okay, Count Rios sent me a super chat. He said, moral compass plus spiritual radar are great tools.
It says spiritual radar, huh?
Yeah.
Damn, that's deep. And I think that when he's talking about things like spiritual radar, you want to ask yourself, what energy are you sending out into the world? Like the saint earlier who had those serious words for the ladies, I feel you. I've met those women. They're all over the place, especially here in Las Vegas. But what I want you to know is that the man that you are, the way you carry yourself, man, it speaks volumes. And based on that, you're going to attract certain things. Like even me today, we went out to buy some furniture, and I was wearing a thobe, like or a jalaba, which is like basically like you look like Jesus. You know, I was wearing like some sandals and a jalaba. I look like Jesus. Bad energy is not going to come my way when I look like that. You know, OnlyFans hoe ain't gonna look at me twice when I'm in that kind of outfit, you dig? And I like that. You know, you really wanna show up and present yourself to the world so that you can get out of the world what you are. So don't ever fake and pretend, you know, don't ever try to blend into this world. And if you look at all of the great men in history, they were great because they refused to comply with the sickness pervading the society. Most of them were reformers of culture. They didn't blend into the culture. So I shout out to all the saints who are well aware that we're in a sick world and we can't go along with it. We got to call these hoes out. And not only that, we got to give them a little tune-up, you dig? We like a hoe mechanic. We gonna bring them back.
Okay, Jake is back with his 5th and 6th super
Damn.
chat. So
In a row?
Well,
He
yes,
did 5,
2 in a row.
6? Damn,
Yeah.
okay.
So I'm going to read number 5 first. He said, I've been with a lot of women and now I'm a little older, looking for a long-term relationship, but I've been that guy they cheat with. Best option for marriage is a reformed whore, born-again Christian, no thanks.
Oh man, that's curious. You know, I try to personally stay away from the women who are super religious because I can't really believe a damn thing that they're saying. As always, the younger you can get them, the better. Less miles on them. So that's one thing you should look into. The widows are good too. But a reformed whore, that's a toughie, man. You know, like, I prefer not to be with a reformed whore. I prefer to be with a woman who maybe was in a long-term marriage and the guy turned out to be a dud or an asshole and she ended up getting divorced by no fault of her own. I'd rather pick her up on the back end of things. But hey, I can tell you, if you're worthwhile, those women are gonna show up. Because the more I advance in life and in society, man, them hoes be hopping in my DM the way y'all niggas hop in females' DMs, you dig? So hey, don't worry about it, just keep winning. Winning is the most attractive thing in the world. And you don't have to only win financially. There's so many ways to display your value to the society.
Okay, his next super chat talks about a win that he does have. He said,
Okay.
Saint, I've been working on getting closer to God. Also just opened my own business.
Congrats.
I put women on hold and I feel much better. It just sucks that at this point in time, long-term relationships are dead. Thanks, Saint.
Absolutely. And you know what? Focusing on your business You keep your mind on your money and off of the honey gonna chase you down, you dig? You're gonna wake up and find yourself soaked in it. Because at the end of the day, we both know women like abundance. They like shiny things, and you'll have plenty of shiny things to flash in front of them.
Okay, we have Jabrizzi Magic Bag. He's in a super chat. He said, I remember talking to a girl, and when the pandemic hit, she talked about how she just realized she was BSing her time. That statement was so true.
Huh. Now, I'd be curious as to, exactly what they both meant when she said BSing her time.
Okay, Joe Rivas the fourth sent a super chat. He said, I think Jordan Peterson assigning women to chaos and men to order is very accurate.
Yeah, that's correct. And in fact, a lot of what Jordan Peterson says are not necessarily his original ideas. Him being a scholar, he's taking a lot of information from those who have come before him. And what he's done, which is clever, is that he's put it into plain, pithy language that we can easily share. So shout out to JP. And undoubtedly, women are of chaos. You ever been in a household with a bunch of women, a bunch of sisters? It's loud, it's fast moving, it's just so much hustle and bustle. There's no order. And so he's certainly right. The challenge is that so few males are men today. So when we get mad at women trying to establish matriarchy, what we really have to get mad at is the males who have come before us not maintaining our position in the society. And that's why we have to reestablish the male leadership in the patriarchy.
Okay, we have Kleptos in a super chat. He said, how did you come to accept the evil in all of us?
How did I come to accept the evil in all of us?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Except for me, I don't have any evil in me.
Okay, let's not get wild here. So, one thing that is almost invisible is that life is really good and people are mostly really good. In fact, people are so good that it's invisible. Most of the time, things work out. Like, for example, in this gym, all these free weights, they could be missing, but no one stole them. That's why they're here. People are so saintly most of the time that it becomes invisible. They're mostly doing the right thing. That's why I have these free weights, because no one stole them. I don't have to worry about standing in front of this window because there's no one out there shooting into the window, right? People are mostly doing the right thing. The challenge of accepting people's shortcomings is really easy for me because before I reflect on the shortcomings of others, I think about my own shortcomings, of which there are many. And as they say in the Bible, he who is without sin cast the first stone. So it's much easier to hold your tongue on condemning someone else when you look in the mirror first and realize that you are not perfect. And that's a very hard thing because we forget to do it and we're hypercritical in the society. But at the end of the day, for me, having had experience in the criminal life, just due to being born into a criminal family, and then having the good fortune of being able to ascend into corporate success, I've had to play in the mud to get out of the mud, you see? And the things that I had to do while I was in the mud, there was a level of necessity there, right? I didn't really feel as though I had choice. My hands were tied. So I have a lot of empathy and sympathy for people who are still in the mud and have to do things that might not be illegal, things that might not be entirely moral, because they're dealing with tough circumstances. So for me, it's easy to be empathetic. That's why I call myself the saint and the sinner. But all the same, we still have to strive to be saintly even when it's challenging. I hope that answers your question. But at the end of the day, man, the key is to focus on your damn self. Though we are in a community as the Assassin, I really want people to always remember to look in the mirror first. That's why that 3-sentence Bible, sentence 1 is be yourself. That's self-focus. What am I doing as a man? Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing for myself? Be good to yourself is number 2. Be good to good people is number 3. So everything starts with the self first and then it goes outward.
Okay, One Love sent me a super chat. He said, is having an effeminate mannerisms and men a universal turnoff for women?
No.
I can't get rid of my feminine mannerisms. It's out of my control.
I'm not exactly sure what you mean by feminine mannerism, but one thing I'll tell you is if you look at Prince, if you don't know about Prince, Google Prince, Purple Rain, you dig? This dude was hella feminine, and man, them hoes love Prince. My mother included, love him. You even look at Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson talks super feminine, has the softest voice out there. You look at Rick James, who was also super player. He made a song called Super Freak. You dig? Check it out. Long curly hair, you know, and even if you look at the pimpin', you know, pimps tend to have nails nicer than women, right? Pimps want to be the peacock. They want to have the finest fabrics, the nicest brands, those slim cut suits, you dig? Which is to say that, you know, a level of femininity is not going to turn off all women. I wouldn't even say it turns off most women. At the end of the day, the man that you are is what matters most. And that's why I try to refrain from calling cats gay, because gay is you having intercourse with another male. Shit, you could wear a rainbow shirt. That doesn't mean you're gay, right? The shirt might look hella gay, so I don't recommend it, but you really gotta stick to the big picture. And if a woman can't see the big picture, you don't want to deal with her anyways. Most women are exceptionally forgiving. Even though they're critical out of their mouth, women are of love for the most part. So I don't think you need to worry about that at all.
Okay, Bro Truth sent another super chat. I think this is supposed to say thinking of a move to Las Vegas or Miami, benefits of Las Vegas over Miami.
Hey man, I tell you like this. I'm thinking about making a move to Miami my damn self. Las Vegas is lovely, you know, bar none. So what I would tell you to do is come out here to Las Vegas, you dig? Spend some time here, and then when we all get our, you know, get everything together timing wise, let's all make a move to Miami. Let's have a place in Miami, have a place in Las Vegas. It'd be a beautiful time. But to describe the differences, Las Vegas is 24/7. This is the only city in the world that goes 24 hours a day. I know. They say New York is the city that never sleeps. I've seen Manhattan go to bed many a night. You dig? Las Vegas goes 24/7, 365. On Christmas Day, you can go into a casino. People are in there having a good ass time. At 3 a.m., you can go into a casino. People acting like it's middle of the day because they don't know. You can't see the sun because there's no windows, right? It's like a timeless environment. That's one of the things I like about Vegas. Whatever you want to do, you can do it all hours of the night. If you want to exercise, if you want to get drinks, if you want to party, there's day parties, there's night parties, there's after parties. So it's a remarkable place in that regard. Miami, I like because it has community. In Las Vegas, half the people you see at a given time are just visiting. You know, in Miami, you see people who actually live in Miami, right? So it's nice because you have community. Now, Miami is a lot more like South America. You might be in Macy's and you hear them make an announcement on the PA system in Spanish. So it's a really different feel. And because it has a lot of that Latin American culture, like you see all them Colombian chicks with the fake butts and all that stuff, you got gorgeous women, but you also have like a lot of plastic aesthetic in Miami, just like a lot of fake shit, a lot of fronting, which you're not gonna have as much of that in Las Vegas. I think in Las Vegas, when you see somebody in a Rolls Royce, that's their car. In Miami, you see somebody in a Rolls Royce, that's a rental. So I think those are some of the major differences if you ask me. The women on average, I think, are more attractive in Miami, if I'm keeping it real with you.
It doesn't rain here, it rains there.
Yeah, it also doesn't rain in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, bar none, has the best weather. And obviously, Miami could theoretically get hit with a hurricane. And obviously, it's a lot more rainy in Miami than it is here.
Okay, we have Jake back with another super chat. I've lost count. He said, Saint, I just found your content and I appreciate your perspective from real life experience and from a religious view. You real talk, no BS. Thanks.
Hey, I appreciate that, Jake. That means a lot to me because I know that my message is not going to be understood by the majority of people. That's why people follow a lot of these other guys, because their message is simple. This is the Nobel laureate of the pimpin', you dig? And so when we speak on a spiritual level, or we talk about academic texts and we share philosophies that most people can't comprehend, I know, like, damn, that's not gonna grow my audience, but I appreciate that guys like you who are knowledgeable are really appreciating this and hopefully applying it to your daily life so that you may thrive. Because a man will earn his bread by his knowledge, a man will thrive by his knowledge, a man will remain strong by his knowledge.
Okay, we have Graham Kastner sent a super chat. He said, advice to someone who has been conditioned from birth to wait for marriage regarding sex, how to feel normal and not in the wrong.
Well, Graham, number one, you have to be who you are. Sometimes it's hard to discover who you are because there are layers and layers of things that people put on you that are not natural to you. Clearly, you have a natural desire to copulate with a female. Yeah, me too. The good thing about, say, religious guilt or whatever your parents put on you is that at some level, this level of shame or the second thought you're having stops you from going overboard, because certainly as a young man, you could very easily be overcome by the hard to be governed passions of youth. So you have to accept that the reason religion is teaching you not to do certain things is in many ways to protect you from your damn self, right? But at the end of the day, are you living as a whole man if you're without a woman? No, you're not living well. You have to be real with yourself. You need to release sometimes. You need companionship. And the way I get out of these false ideas, like you should wait till marriage to have sex, is I just look at the logic and figure out, does it add up? And also, you should consider, well, do you need to get married earlier in life? If you're a Muslim, the Prophet Muhammad recommends men and women get married very young, very early in life, because he knows that you have the physical drive, so that makes sense. Now, another good thing about getting married early in life is that you get to evolve together with the female. You guys get to mold one another. You get married later in life, you meet a woman, she's already set. There's no molding to be done. And that's why a lot of those marriages break. But at the end of the day, if you know you're not ready to be married, but you are ready to get you a little piece of pie, you dig? Make sure you roll back that condom to the serial numbers, okay? Because, hey, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with getting a piece of pie, but you certainly don't want to leave with a disease that's going to affect you for the rest of your life. So always use protection. I cannot emphasize that enough. But I personally think it's fine to enjoy yourself with a woman as long as you are being careful.
Okay, we have 2 super chats that came back to back that pretty much ask the same question. So Universal Discipline and Clarence Rogers both asked at what age or point in a man's life should he consider settling down or marrying a woman? And then Clarence said, what age should a man get married?
There's no magical age, but I want to tell you this. Don't wait until it's too late, meaning you have only bad choices. What I mean is this. If you know, look, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire, well, then you probably got up until age 40. Up until age 40, you can reach down and get you a chick that's 25. Because at 40, you're in good physical shape. You know, you still got your vitality. Chicks ain't tripping. They'll mess with you. Okay, he's a multi-millionaire. He's 40 years old. They'll mess with you at age 25. Cool. But if you're 40 on an average income or you're 40 and broke, well, it's going to be hard to get that girl who's 25. And the reason I'm saying get the girl who's 25 is because the one who's 35, closer to your age, has had so much bad experience that she might be one of those women we're describing that has no soul, has that death in her eyes. So certainly you need to calibrate yourself appropriately. If I was to tell you some general advice for just every man, I say you probably want to find the woman that you want to stick with. You want to find her no later than age 35. By the time you're 35, you want to have that woman have your claws already in her and don't let her go. You dig? If you're a woman, good women are pretty much tied up by age 25. You know, they've met that guy that they want to stick with by age 25. They get a little bit older than that, you got to start being suspicious of why the guy didn't want to stick with them. Why are they still a free agent?
Okay, we have Christian Smith sent a super chat. He said, born in the projects and adopted by a Caucasian family, then back with my mother in middle class society. From someone who comes from a diverse life, I appreciate the diverse content.
I appreciate that. That almost sounds like a little bit of my life experience from the black box. Is that what that?
Minus the white family.
Right, minus the white family. You know, yes, certainly minus the white family. But when you think about income, it's almost the same thing, because when you leave out of poverty into a middle class or upper middle class family, generally speaking, you're among white families, unless you're in certain parts of Maryland, I think like Silver Spring, Maryland, and places like that, or parts of Atlanta where you have affluent populations of color. But for the most part, you might not be living in a white family, but you'll be among white folks because you've jumped up in class.
Okay, Collecto sent a super chat. I believe it's his second one as well. He said, "What is the most impactful book that you've read?" The Black Box by Marquett Devon Burton.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece. The Black Box by Marquett Devon Burton is a masterpiece in that very few books can make you cry and make you smile and make you inspired. So certainly it's a masterpiece, and we're going to continue revising it so that it lasts time. But aside from my book, The Black Box, which you can get at www.thesasn.com, beside that one, I'd say the book I've profited by the most and the book that plays in my head the most is The Richest Man in Babylon. And it's because it's a tale of economic accumulation. This game of life that we're in, when you play by the rules, you win and you profit by that. When you don't play by the rules, you do the things that you know will obviously hurt you, you're going to suffer, right? Like when you eat fatty foods, you're going to have a body that's out of shape. When you play by the rules and do the disciplines that are hard to do but obvious, like saving money is an obvious discipline you should do, you're going to look up and say, damn, I got $30,000 in savings. That's great. So I love The Richest Man in Babylon because it talks about the two roads that you can walk down. Bad habits make you poor. Good habits make you wealthy. So I love that book.
Okay, we have a super chat from Count Rios. He's back again.
Yeah.
He said, "When you retire boxing, what's next? Tai Chi? Tai Chi?
Maybe you meant Tai Chi is what I would think.
It's probably Tai Chi. I said it
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
You know what? Though I don't like the rolling around with grown men in tight shorts, I've always wanted to give MMA a go. So I don't think I would ever compete in MMA, but I'd probably want to get, keen on some Brazilian jiu-jitsu once I stop boxing. But I think I'll always live like a boxer, always live like a fighter, because when you do something so many times, you don't know what else to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what else to do but to hit the gym every day. I don't know what else to do but to bust that jump rope out and start swinging it, So there's some things that just become a part of you.
KSVNF Futures sent a super chat. He said, "Thanks for the game, Pimp."
I truly appreciate that, SVN.
We have someone named Faris who sent a message saying, "Bro, I'm listening from Saudi Arabia. I want to send a super chat, but I can't for some reason. Please help."
I think the best move from Saudi would be PayPal. So that would be marquettb@gmail.com. So Marquett, B as in boy, marquettb@gmail.com. Shout out to the brother in Saudi, assalamu alaikum. We have a couple brothers in Saudi who actually follow the ism, you dig? I want to get out there one day, man, because I did meet one Saudi girl. She was quite attractive, but surprisingly liberal.
Okay, Samuel Burnett sent a super chat. He said, "Do you ever get drunk or drunk moderately or choose the complete sober life? Just curious."
I never get drunk, and I never get drunk moderately. For me, it's either you do or you don't. Either you do drink or you don't drink. You see, women especially, actually before we go to that, let's talk about people. When you look at leaders, followers are looking at the leader to find hypocrisy in their ways. They search you every inch, trying to find a chink in your armor. They want to find some hypocrisy so they can say, you are nothing just like them. Onlookers, not even necessarily your followers, onlookers, they want to say, you are nothing. So they're looking for a weakness. We are all leaders. Men are leaders of women, you see? So you always have to maintain who you are. If you don't drink, it's easy to stay consistent with that. It's simple. The woman understands he does not drink. But to tell her, hey, I drink sometimes, well, then she can't really categorize you and categorize your beliefs. So it's better to be a man of clear discipline, of clear yes or no, black and white, so you can be understood. So no, I never drink. I truly don't believe in it, but I also don't stop anyone else from drinking. I'm fine being around people who are drinking. It's not my preference, and I would never buy anyone a drink because I don't want to pay for them to hurt themselves, but I wouldn't stop anyone from drinking or make anyone feel low because of it. But my recommendation to you is to pick a side. Live somewhere. Don't live on the fence, pick a side.
Okay, we have a super chat from Eric314. He said, Marquett, I'm an alcoholic, but I've accomplished a lot considering my starting point. I appreciate what you do, and I know what to do first. Thanks for the reminder.
Absolutely. And Eric314, hey, nobody's perfect. We all have different challenges. One thing I like about the Islamic concept of jihad means internal struggle. You know, one person might struggle with overeating, another struggles with sex addiction, another struggles with alcoholism, another struggles with drug addiction. We all have our struggles. And so it takes a very strong person, male or female, to admit to their struggle, especially publicly. It takes an even stronger person to do the right thing of taking the small steps toward eradicating that struggle. To be human is to have struggle. To be great is to overcome struggle.
Okay, Klepto sent another super chat. He said, who is the wisest person that you've learned from?
Put your hand down, ma'am. Ma'am, put your hand down. Thank you. The wisest person I've learned from? That's a tough one, man.
Right here.
I'm trying to think real quick. That's a tough one. The wisest person I've learned from. You know what? I can't really say one person. I've always tried to pull knowledge from everywhere I can. So I can't name one person, and certainly it wouldn't be anyone I've met in the flesh. It would definitely be, one of the men that I've read their writings, read their thoughts in a book. But I think we all should be taking the greatest notes from our experience. Our experience should be a teacher. The key to life for me is not what you learn, but it's what you do. So I hope that my life shows that I took action. So many of us learn, and so many of us read, but I just hope people look at my life and say, he wasn't the smartest guy in the world, but God damn it, he got to work. That's really what I want my book to explain, is the action piece. So I might not have learned a whole bunch, but I took a lot of action on the little bit that I did learn.
Okay, we have Jabrizi back with another super chat. He said, when you're younger, you wonder how you get a woman, or how to get a woman. When you're older, you wonder if you want to keep the girl around you. Pimping.
And Jabri is speaking from a position of power. And I want you guys to know that that's possible for all of you. We're not talking to the masses of men, we're talking to the saints right now. Jabri is totally right. And it's actually not a matter of age. He says when you're older, because he's not even that old. Neither am I. It's not a matter of age, it's a matter of success. When a man becomes successful, it's like being a beautiful woman. Just the way a beautiful woman's DMs get flooded, Jabrizi's DMs get flooded, my DMs get flooded. So that's why half the time I don't respond to your message, because I don't see it. There's just a bunch of messages of hoes that I'm ignoring. And so what he's pointing out is that when you're young, you're in the pursuit of the female because your physical body is driving you to fulfill libidinal desires. But when you're a mature man and your physical body is cooled out just a little bit, enough for you to think, and this thinking cap you got on leads you towards success, and you're pursuing the right thing, you're pursuing the money instead of the honey, well, then the honey starts pursuing you. Yeah, and that's the key right there. That's when life is good. You get to pick, you get to select, you get to reject.
Okay, Teddy Grams 204 sent me a super chat. He said, recently gave my girl an unscalable business idea. She started seeing success. Slightly forgot her duties to me for a day. I put her in check. Should I tell her to dead it or keep going super part-time?
It's very difficult to open Pandora's box and then close it. As a man, you have to play chess while she's playing checkers. Playing chess, you get to see those 13 moves ahead. When you look 13 moves ahead, you have to be able to predict how things will unfold. It's very easy to tell the woman what she can and cannot do up front. But to give her a certain freedom and then try to remove it is very difficult to do. It's almost like demoting someone. If you pay somebody $17 an hour, you can't turn around next week and say, I'm paying you $15 an hour. They're going to jump ship because they feel as though they've lost status. And in the case of you, you have a female that you gave a level of freedom or a level of power, and now you're going to try to take it back. Undoubtedly, that's going to cause a little bit of friction. It's always better to pre-plan rather than to try to fix a bad plan. So my number one recommendation to you, Saint, is start playing chess, not checkers. Number two, have a conversation with that woman, and you have to implant the idea in her mind so that any adjustment in her behavior that she makes, she believes was her own idea, not your idea. Did you see that movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio when he's planting ideas in people's minds? That's what you're trying to do. I say that to say this. If she's a wise woman, she should already know that all of her work and the fruits of her labor should go to you anyways. And so if the work that she's doing in the short term is not serving you and it's causing you to have a loss of quality of life, she should want to make an adjustment. If she doesn't want to make an adjustment, she's selfish and she's pursuing her own ends, and you don't want her anyways.
KK Dizzy Pal sent a super chat. He said, practical tips on how to mentor others.
Oh man, practical tips on how to mentor others. I think when people come to you for mentorship, they just want you to keep an eye on them, keep them accountable. So I think that's number one, is be a great listener. And then number two, check in on them. Whatever they said that they were going to do, make sure that they are true to it. That's what I would recommend. Truthfully, I don't try to be a mentor. Maybe when I was younger, I tried that, but now I don't. I just try to live well and speak truth, and that's where I kind of leave it at, and encourage people to take action, because action is the greatest teacher. Experience is the greatest teacher. I'm just a human being just like everybody else.
Okay, we have Klepto back with another super chat. He said, what's the biggest mistake that you've ever made?
That's a good one. I for sure made a ton of mistakes. There's no one successful that's not made a ton of mistakes. In fact, I think successful people make more mistakes than unsuccessful people. My biggest mistake, I would probably say, is financial irresponsibility. When you don't have real goals, like me, I would achieve a financial goal. Like, I want to make this amount of money, and then I make that amount of money, but I don't have a goal beyond making that money. Well, now the money is like burning a hole in my pocket. I don't have anything meaningful to do with it, so I just do stupid stuff with it. So I would say financial mismanagement was my biggest issue, because I didn't have any greater goal for the money. And so eventually I got plugged in with groups like the Global Good Fund, philanthropic groups that are doing good things. And so it inspired me with a better vision of what can be done with capital, what can be done with power, instead of just glorifying the self, instead of buying gold watches and doing goofy things like that.
Okay, Christian Smith is back with another super chat. He said, 2020 ended off a great year for me. I went to be in a penthouse for the first time. Vegas Strip, which do you recommend, top 2 to 3?
Top 2 to 3 penthouses?
I guess in Las Vegas.
Okay, so for sure, I love the Cosmopolitan. You get you a super player penthouse there. It'll overlook the Bellagio fountain. That's a great play. And also the location is good because you're a little more central on the Strip. So I like that. Obviously, it's going to cost you. Aria also has the corner suites. The corner suites or the sky lofts in the MGM are gorgeous. But MGM's kind of like at the end of the Strip, so I prefer the Aria corner suites. They're beautiful. You got glass floor to ceiling from the bathroom all the way through the living room. The Wynn also has some things that are just fabulously player, but the Wynn is kind of toward the end of the Strip. It's high luxury, but it's toward the end of the Strip. So I would say if it were up to me, I would probably settle on the Cosmopolitan penthouse. You dig?
That's my favorite too.
Okay, you may not have heard that, but Bridget said that's her favorite as well. Because the decor in the Cosmopolitan is hyper modern, very stylish, almost has like this French feel to it, and it's just gorgeous, beautifully interior designed. Now the square footage, you can pretty much, if you're in a penthouse, you're gonna get great square footage anywhere you go.
Okay, Samuel Burnett sent a super chat. He said, do you believe in universal law? Because I had a line of women, and the more I wanted to focus on having an online biz, they slowly been disappearing. LOL.
Dude, they didn't disappear because you focusing on the money. They disappeared because you didn't integrate them. Me, I don't have work-life balance. I have work-life integration, which is to say, if you fucking with me, you fucking with this pimping. You heard me? So if a female's involved with me, she is now thereby involved in whatever I'm involved in. You dig? So if today we're selling the Black Box ebooks, that's what she's doing today. If tomorrow we're mailing out the Saint the Sinner shirts, which you can get at www.theassassin.com, we're actually gonna mail them out tomorrow. So if you really want yours quickly, order it tonight because we're mailing out a batch tomorrow. But if she messes with me, that's what she's doing. She's doing whatever I'm doing. You dig? So if you were doing an online business and your hoes fell away, that means you didn't put them to work for you. You're the quarterback. You can't play all of the positions. You got to bring them in to hike the ball, to run the ball, to run for the Hail Mary. That's the key, integration. Because every human being, especially women, when you empower them and give them a job, and then they can be successful in that task that you give them, you give their life meaning. Put them to work.
Okay, we are all caught up.
Fantastic. I think Bridget's trying to get to sleep, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, Bridget's trying to get to sleep. So let me go ahead and end this the way I usually end this. With the creed of the assassin. Wherever you are, say this with complete passion, knowing that this is true of you. The creed of the assassin. I'm going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable. And I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am. Saints, it's been a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for your meaningful questions. I'm inspired every time we get to fellowship. I'll talk to you.